Indica is a game of contradictions. It tells you very early on not to worry about the points, for the points are meaningless. However, almost everything you do in the game gives you points, so therefore everything you do in the game is also kind of meaningless and you shouldn't worry about it. But in that same breath, they give you an infinite inventory so you don't have to worry about all the things you're picking up. Each item you pick up has like this hyper detailed lore, either about what the story in the item is, what Indica thinks of it, what the other nuns think of it, or what other characters we don't even meet, like her father, think of certain things. There are numerous benches that allow you to sit down and take in not only the environment, but the architecture of all the buildings around you that you may not be able to see due to your position in the game and the angles that are allowed while you're playing as Indica. And also, for a game that only gives you meaningless points, for some reason there's a skill tree which allows you to get even more meaningless points. Like, what is this? It is a game that has multiple trophies for doing extra things, like falling in a pond 10 times in one of the flashbacks, or not taking a screenshot in one of the scenes where Indica and another character have to get naked because they fall into a river and it's a Russian winter, so they have to take their clothes off to dry in front of a furnace. And it turns out, I guess, people were taking screenshots of Indica when she was naked. I didn't know this was a trophy until it randomly popped because I was fucking invested in, the actual scene. Also, it turned out that not every person who played this game has this trophy. I really hope that's due to the fact that not everybody beat the game after they bought it, and not because we as a society are this fucking gooned out. I'm saying that as a certified gooner. I got my gooning license, but like, dog, dude, hasn't she been through enough? Come on, dog. Lock in, please. Indica is a game of contradictions. It is dreary and depressing and sorrowful and dark, but it's also charming and funny and weird and fantastical. I don't even know if fantastical is a word, but I'm gonna keep using it in this sentence. When the flashbacks happen, the game turns into a 2D platformer with racing sections. And then when you get slung back into the modern game, that's like an Unreal Engine 5 hyper-realistic puzzle game. Indica is a game of contradictions, weirdness, and depression, and I fucking love it. Indica is a game that clearly wants you to be invested in it, especially with the amount of times that it slows down to include these really long existential conversations between characters. The game also consistently reminds you that being invested is meaningless because the actions you do in this game are meaningless and are not gonna have any effect on anything. However, at least for me, I couldn't help but get invested anyway. It's almost like this is some kind of anti-game. It is a game that wants you to interact with it as if it were a normal game, but also it's not a normal game and will constantly remind you that doing the extra shit isn't gonna lead anywhere except to satisfy your own curiosity. It is a game that has a really slow start, and yet by the time you get to the end, you're gonna be like, that's it? That's really it? But in a good way. In Indica, you play as none other than Indica. I really hope I'm pronouncing that name right. It is a Russian name, and I don't know Russian. Indica is a nun, kind-hearted, soft-spoken, and definitely a little quirky, but she's always trying her best. However, the other nuns kind of fucking bully her and hate her anyway. Now, you might be wondering, why? Why are the other nuns bullying this lady with one of the most adorable voices I've ever heard in a video game?
Прости, помочь тут может быть?
Тебя еще не хватало. Иди, куда шла.
Прости меня.
А шо в нем? Шо в нем? Шо в нем? Шо в нем? А шо в нем?
Эй! Эй, Илья, ты живой? Илья!
Да, живой.
Well, it's for two reasons. One, Indica isn't that good of a nun. Her heart's in the right place, but nunnery is not something that she's particularly good at. And also, she has the voice of the devil in her head. The devil, who also bullies her and is also the narrator of the game. Yup, we're getting to the weird shit already. As soon as the game starts, they tell you this. And as soon as the game starts, this starts happening.
Сестры любили Индику. Христианская любовь, как известно, долготерпит, милосердствует и верит. Хотя, если говорить в низменном смысле, по-человечески, то любили меньше. И если уж совсем откровенно, то и вовсе не любили. Многие даже презирали. Индика, впрочем, была в этом совершенно не виновата. Если бы не голос, который внушал ей непростительные для христианина идеи, была бы она инокиней добродетельной и заурядной. Больше всего на свете Индика мечтала, чтобы голос оставил ее в покое. Вся жизнь ее превратилась в борьбу, в мучительное сопротивление. Но как ни старалась она, как ни истязала себя, с каждым днем голос становился только громче и убедительнее.
Yup, we are in it. We are in it right now. Now, Indika, while not particularly good at nunnery, is that what that's called? Is that what doing nun stuff is called? I think so. She is really good with machines. Like, incredibly good. Like, the only one that knows how to properly operate all of the machines amongst all of the characters good. She can fix and operate basically any machine that she sees and can even explain to other characters in detail how and why those machines are broken and how and why they work.
Это шпонка, предохранитель. Она должна ломаться в случае перегрузки, чтобы защитить от поломки более важной части механизма.
Понятно.
The reason that she's able to do this is because her father was a mechanical engineer who owned the equivalent of a motorbike shop and basically taught her everything that she needed to know about the ins and outs of machines. So you might be wondering, why isn't she working with machines then? Well, the game drip feeds you different reasons as to why she's a nun right now, outside of it being the late early 1900s Russia and she's, you know, a woman. Like, the chances of her being able to do something as radical as chasing her dreams in late 1800s, early 1900s Russia, or anywhere on the planet really, is slim to none if you're a woman. But also, there are other reasons why she's a nun that the story drip feeds you through all the flashbacks. There are definitely other reasons layered on top of that. Anyways, after messing up yet another ceremony, Indika is finally allowed to leave the conclave by herself in order to deliver a letter to another priest in the main church. Now, she doesn't know the contents of this letter, but given the fact that this game is depressing as shit, we can assume that the contents of this letter are not particularly good. Either way, this is where our adventure begins, and trust me, it is only downhill from here, buddy. The journey is over the course of a couple of days, and listen, some days are funny, some days are action-packed, and some days are heartwarming, but there is one thing that is consistent about all the levels and all the days in this game, and that is each day is significantly worse than the last, particularly for our girl Indika. The situations she ends up in get more and more dangerous. The people she encounters get more and more useless and annoying and stupid and just completely incompetent. It's just not a particularly fun time for our girl. Now, I don't want to spoil the entire game because the game is only 5 hours long. It's free on PlayStation Plus. I think it's only like 10 or 20 bucks. Like, it's worth your time. You should play it, but we can't really talk about the story of the game without introducing yet another player. In fact, the main companion you have for the story, Ilya. Now, I won't spoil how Indika meets Ilya because it's pretty interesting. However, I will tell you a little bit about him. Ilya is an escaped convict who believes that God is talking to him through his rotting arm. Yup, the game continues to get weirder. We have a nun that has the voice of the devil in her head and a convict that has the voice of God in his. He believes, as, you know, God is talking to him through his rotting arm, everything that has happened to him so far, meeting Indika, escaping the prison, everything else that you do on your adventure, was because he listened to God's plan as dictated through his arm and his dreams. And he believes that God wants him to go to a church that has what is known as a kudets in it. The kudets is basically a miracle box / artifact in this church. And according to God, of course, talking to him through his rotting arm, let me just reiterate that his arm is rotting, like it stinks. Like other characters talk about how much it stinks. According to God, if he prays to that kudets, not only will his arm be be healed, but he will also be set free. One of the main reasons he also believes it to actually be God's will and God's plan is because a doctor 2 weeks ago told him he had to cut off his arm in order to survive because he'd be dead by the end of the week. But Ilya isn't dead yet, of course, as we're talking to him, and he still has the rotting arm on his body. He definitely does pass out a lot, but he isn't dead. So, you know, maybe what he's saying is holding a little bit of water. Now, Indika doesn't believe in any of that shit. In fact, she might not believe in anything at all, but we'll just leave that alone for the time being. However, due to a sense of religious duty, not wanting Ilya to die, wanting to prove herself as a nun, and definitely not wanting to listen to the devil, she decides to help him out anyway and help guide him and take him towards this church, which is a completely different objective than what she started off doing, and is in fact what we do for the majority of the game. Like, we literally do like a giant 180 from delivering this letter to a completely different church to helping Ilya get to the main city. We have to take a completely different train so we can go to this Kudets and see this miracle. But hey, I guess that's just God's plan, right? Now, to move away from the story for a little bit, let's actually talk about, you know, the game. This is not a walking simulator. This is the walking simulator, the definitive walking simulator. There's a lot of walking, a lot of talking, a lot of puzzles, some of them in like the real world 3D space, and some of them due to the devil fracturing Indika's perception of reality because she gets extremely stressed out sometimes, and the devil can just do that, which then leads to her having to pray in order to refocus and actually, you know, be in reality. But you have to alternate between praying and listening to the devil in order to like actually solve the puzzle in the world that you're in, because you have to use the breakage of reality in order to get across whatever obstacle was in front of you in the real world. Something, art house symbolism, something, and of course, as previously stated, all the flashbacks are like 2D platformers or like a racing game or something like that to explain something that happened in Indika's childhood. So, you know, you get a little fun 2D platformer to go alongside the childhood trauma. It's great. But yes, the majority of the game is walking and talking and suffering. There's also a lot of puzzles that involve machines, again, because that's like Indika's bread and butter. Fixing machines, using these train-like machines to get around, using cranes, all sorts of stuff. And like I said before, the game starts a little slow initially, maybe in like the first 30-45 minutes, but then by the time you get to the end, you are going to be just spiraling, just in a fucking rage almost. A good kind of rage, a rage that gets you thinking, but like, ooh, the ending is just so fucking, ooh, it hurts. Ooh, it hurts. And given that the game is only like 5 hours, if you're bad at puzzles like me, because I fucked up like 3 of the puzzles because I kept interacting with them before the level actually like finished getting through whatever cinematic thing it was trying to talk about in order to introduce the puzzle. That's my fault. I'm a dumbass. I think even if you don't prefer this type of game, you will find a lot of value in it. I think it's still a good time. It is still engaging enough as a walking simulator to the point where you won't be bored, especially once you get to the last like real devil puzzle. It had me fucked up for like 10-15 minutes. The solution is really simple. The final puzzle of this game is a puzzle that gets you to easily overthink, and the minute you figure it out, it's like, oh, I'm a fucking dumbass. The game also looks fucking beautiful, like everything in it, from the clothing that people wear to the environments that you're in to the strange architecture that surrounds you and towers over you, almost like it's swallowing you up because the scale of these buildings is just so high and weird. And as you play the game, you will truly begin to realize that the world is a lot more fantastical / fantasy-like than it originally lets on. And you start going to more weirder and weirder areas that almost look like something that should exist, except for like 3 or 4 or 5 or 6 or 7 things that are off. That's when the game really starts to tickle that part of your brain that makes you want to know more about this world. And I'm telling you right now, I wish I could tell you and give you a long 10-minute tirade about, oh, this is this particular type of Eastern European fantasy world building, yada, yada, yada. I don't know what this is called. I don't know what this vibe is called. In my opinion, the closest thing I could say is that it's like a Russian version of steampunk. All the architecture reminds me of what a late industrial revolution, except Russian-like. I wish I had something deeper to say. It looks cool. You very quickly realize that this world isn't reality. It's just something adjacent to it, and all the weird fantasy stuff they fold in is just, it's so good. Like, this is the type of subtle world building I like, just putting shit in the background, giving you those benches to see the different views of the villages or the factory or all these other places you go to, so you can begin to draw your own conclusions about the world you're in. Again, all the while, the game is reminding you that all the points and all these other extra things you're doing outside of the main story are pointless, but it's such an interesting world, you just naturally want to know more about it. Now, one of the major criticisms that I've seen of this game, particularly of its story and themes, is that it is a r/I am 14, this is deep atheism-esque type, and I feel like that is a very disingenuous take when talking about the story of this game, because the conversations that the characters have in this game, all these conversations are very human. I feel like the conversations were very real. I don't feel like that they were necessarily disrespectful in any regard. This is coming from someone who is religious. I'm not Christian, but this is coming from somebody who, you know, who has faith in a higher power. I don't feel like it was in ill faith or anything to the questions that Indika was asking, the questions that Ilya was asking, because those are the two main characters that are talking for most of the game for obvious reasons. There was no point in the story where I was like, they're just doing the ye old religion bad. There's no point, at least for me, where it felt like that. And I feel like that take is kind of disingenuous and is coming from a lack of wanting to engage with the actual story itself. And not wanting to engage with a story like this is fine. Not thinking a story like this is good is fine, but to just be like, oh, this is just edgelord shit. One, the story isn't edgy at all. It's just fucking sad. Everything that happens in this story that's bad, even though it's a fantasy setting, is an incredibly realistic and human thing that could have easily happened to somebody in real life. Unironically, I'm certain that at least one person lived the exact life that Indika lived, because that's how realistic it is. And just to give an example of one of my favorite conversations that happens in the game, it is when Indika and Ilya are going through this factory, this fish factory that you've probably seen. I probably put it on the screen, and they have this conversation. It's a two-parter. One part's on the elevator, one part is in the tunnels, and I'll just play it, and you can decide for yourself if you think this is edgelord type shit, because I disagree.
Так монастырь не твой выбор?
Мой. Но когда у выбора есть причина, можно ли это назвать выбором? Выбирает ли ручей, натыкаясь на камень, куда ему свернуть?
Ох, нихуя себе. Ну, ты же не ручей. У тебя воля есть, свободная.
Воля. Выбор. Но разве делая любой выбор, мы не отталкиваемся от предыдущего опыта? Не взвешиваем в голове всевозможные выгоды. А если мы идем против разума, то мы же осознаем, что в этот момент нами овладевает эмоция, страсть. Ты понимаешь, о чем я?
Да, ну, а я же говорю, воля, она чтобы страсть контролировать, вопреки искушению.
Это верно. Но когда ты контролируешь эмоции, это же не бывает беспричинно. Ты можешь объяснить, почему, выстроить логическую цепочку.
Вот не будь души, осталась бы только твоя логика сраная. Блять, ну а как без души-то? Не научился человек без души еще.
Спроси его, знает ли он, что такое душа. Все говорят, душа. А хоть кто-нибудь может внятно объяснить, что это?
Да, ну, разумеется, душа. Но она тоже чем-то руководствуется. Если, скажем, вот у тебя душа тянется к Богу, а у меня не тянется. И где ж тут мой выбор? Ну, хорошо, если чисто теоретически представим, что есть выбор вообще ничем не обусловленный, то какой же это вообще выбор? Это полная случайность.
Подожди, по-твоему, выбор и слово пустое? Ну, лишнее?
Может, и лишнее. Я не знаю. Я вообще не понимаю, в чем смысл этой истории с выбором, с этой свободой, которую нам даровал Бог. Зачем Богу наша так называемая свобода, если его в конечном счете устраивает только строго определенный выбор? Мог бы просто сделать меня такой, какой бы я ему нравилась.
Я вот что думаю.
О, опять начинается.
Ничего больше тебе не скажу.
Да ладно, шучу я. Говори. Вот ты про свободу интересовалась. зачем Богу было создавать тебя свободным. А я что думаю? Будь я царь, то я не хотел бы жену-рабыню. Я бы искал из свободных баб, чтобы могла меня полюбить искренне. Понимаешь?
Да, очень хороший пример. А теперь представь, твой царь нашел себе девушку по душе, представил?
Ну?
И он признается ей в своих чувствах и приглашает прийти к себе во дворец.
Ну?
А теперь представь, что к своим объяснениям царь добавляет: если придешь, мол, озолочу тебя, а не придешь, поймаю, повешу на крюк и буду жарить на медленном огне. Но при этом еще требует взаимной симпатии.
Ясно, к чему ты клонишь. Так не Господь же жарить будет. Черти, мать их, враги человеческие.
Хорошо. Тогда царь говорит: придешь, озолочу, а не придешь, мясник Парфен, он тебя поймает, повесит на крюк и будет жарить на медленном огне. Я тебя люблю бесконечно, но вот ничего поделать не могу. Ну подумай, вот даже если царь в силу каких-то непонятных причин действительно ничего не может поделать с этим мясником, ну почему бы ему тогда просто не промолчать и про золото, и про мясника, если он действительно хочет какой-то искренности от девушки?
А ты хочешь сказать, что искренней любви к Богу не может быть?
Да нет, я не то, что...
Like, you see what I mean? Like, this doesn't feel like, you know, a Charlie Kirk-esque debate, bro. I'm gonna go onto a fucking college campus and yell at fresh out of high school freshmen for an hour and a half in the hopes of indoctrinating somebody. Whenever these two are talking to each other or asking questions with each other, it's from a real form of debate. They are simply trying to exchange ideas and understand each other's perspective. Ilya doesn't ask questions to try and invalidate Indika. He's asking a legitimate clarifying question on what she believes. And sometimes Indika doesn't have an answer. And the same thing is also true for Ilya, because that's just human. That's the human response in conversation sometimes. Sometimes you just don't have an answer for some shit. You just end up going, fuck, I don't know past that. And that's okay. Having a conversation about something, especially something as like philosophical as a higher power, or what does it mean to be human, or what does it mean to choose, a lot of times those conversations, especially between two people that are just normal people, are gonna trail off and be like, well, I mean, or I don't really know, or do you think this, that, and the third, or I don't really think it's like that, but I think it's like this. That's a normal ass conversation. There's no gotchas here. There's no I'm right, you're wrong. Oh, I know God exists, or oh, you're wrong for thinking that maybe we're on our own. Like, there's none of that exists in this conversation. Nobody's trying to win. They're just trying to talk. That's what I like about this game. It's like, and of course, Indika and Ilya sometimes get defensive of their viewpoints, but that's a normal human response. But as the game goes on, they just end up yapping. They're just yapping about what they think. And then sometimes the conversation just ends. It just ends. Like, there's no real answer from either of them. That's very human. And I really think that it's cool that a game, at the very least, attempted to do something like this. I think it did it pretty well. The whole game's like that. It's just a back and forth. Now, the devil is very... he's very antagonistic throughout the story, both as a narrator and as Indika's inner monologue. But other than him, most of the conversations are kind of just like this even flow of ideas, and then they just kind of end, because that's just how most conversations go. Now, I want to talk about the ending of this game. So here's my assignment to you. And you're going to go play it. It's a 5-hour experience maximum. That's as long as it took me to play it. And then you're going to come back here and we're going to talk about the ending. If I just say it, it's not going to make sense to you, because I'm going to skip most of the story. We're purely talking about the last 10 minutes of the game. I'm not going to provide any other seasoning, okay? You got to go play it. Now, the ending of this game is one of the most gut-wrenching endings I ever had to go through. This shit fucking sucks, dude. Like, this is like The Walking Dead season 1 levels of despair. Skipping over most of the details because hopefully you've actually played the game and you know what happens. Indika ends up in prison. She's in jail. She doesn't know where Ilya is. Ilya's basically betrayed her at this point. She's in jail and she's begging for her freedom. Okay, because she's been framed for killing a priest and she's gonna be hung tomorrow. How did this all happen in 4 days? You're just gonna have to play the game, dude. And just a warning right now, this is gonna get real bad real fast. I know we're all adults here. Most of my audience is 20 to 34. Okay, we're already in this, and if you play the game, you've already seen it. So she's in this jail cell, still a nun at this point, begging for her freedom. And she says she'll do anything to get out. The guard tells her to spin, and she starts to spin. Then the guard tells her to sing, and she starts to sing. Then she falls to her knees due to the fatigue, of course, of the last couple of days. I don't think she's eaten or drinking at this point. And after she falls to her knees, the prison guard undoes his belt and tells her to stay right there. And then it cuts to black. And Indika and the devil have this final conversation that I'm just going to let play out.
Кажется, ничего хуже я уже сделать не смогу. Как легко перешагнуть через все, во что веришь.
Куда перешагнуть?
Куда-то туда, на твою сторону.
Что еще за моя сторона?
Опять будешь спорить, что нет никаких сторон, что нет ни добра, ни зла. Ну, давай попробуй. Убеди меня, что я не делал ничего плохого. Или теперь даже тебе это не по силам.
Плохого? А что значит это слово?
Я убила священника, не валяй дурака.
И не думаю. Все-таки, что значит это слово?
Плохое, греховное, бесовское.
Как ты определяешь, что бесовское, а что нет?
Есть заповеди.
То есть формально сверяем со списком запретов.
Нет, все это и так очевидно. Злое, нечестное, несправедливое.
Злое в унынии, сребролюбии и прелюбодеянии нет ни капли злости. Нечестное, честна собака, которая ест, когда голодна, кусает, когда страшно, сношается, когда есть с кем. Ну, ты помнишь.
Я говорю про намеренную нечестность. Ради собственной выгоды.
Всю жизнь изо всех сил притворяться, что не хочешь того, чего хочешь, что не чувствуешь того, что чувствуешь. Ради вечной жизни в раю разве не попадает идеально под твое определение? Что ты там еще говорила? Несправедливое. Справедливо ли, что на одном дереве 1000 листьев, а на другом 1001? Справедливо ли, что одному на костях выпадает 6, а другому 2? Все это, разумеется, закономерно. Но закономерность эта нам не нравится, и мы в сердцах называем ее несправедливостью. Если отвлечься от эмоций, окажется, что, строго говоря, негде и применить это слово.
А то, что происходит сейчас, что может быть ниже, мерзее, подлее, без всяких рассуждений, я это знаю, чувствую. Когда тебе холодно, не нужны рассуждения, ты просто это чувствуешь. Ты просто знаешь, что тебе холодно.
Ты понимаешь, что без холодно не было бы тепло. Невозможно избавиться от бедности и страданий, оставив только богатство и счастье.
Оставь меня в покое.
О, я бы с удовольствием. Я исчезну только когда ты перестанешь хотеть, чтобы я исчез.
After that conversation, the guard redoes his belt and Indika asks if she's free to go. The guard says no, but good thing for you, you shouldn't be fearing the punishment of the earth. You should be fearing the punishment of heaven after the act you just performed, which is an insane thing for a rapist to say. What the actual fuck, dude? While this is happening, he's having that fucking tirade The devil clutches up and fucking body slams the prison guard, and Indika makes a break for it. But as we see, the guard isn't actually crushed by the devil, he's crushed by a wardrobe. So did Indika do this? Did the devil do this? The ending will soon reveal. Indika runs into town and runs into Ilya, who is now drunk off his ass and pawned off the fucking Kudettes at a pawn shop in order to get alcohol and a trombone. Indika then runs into the pawn shop begging to see the Kudettes. The dude offers to sell it to her for 20 rubles. She says, you only got it for 5. Yes, they pawned off the fucking miracle you spend the entire game trying to get to for 5 rubles. Oh my gosh. Eventually, while arguing with the pawn shop owner, Ilya comes barging back in, yelling at the pawn shop owner, which then draws him outside. And then Indika proceeds to use the Kudettes, do the prayer, and nothing happens. She sees the devil in the mirror and starts praying and shaking the Kudettes, hoping that something will happen. And the only thing that does happen is that points fall out. And at this point, you can shake it as much as you want, get as many points as you want, upgrade your skill tree as much as you want to get more points. But at the end of the day, it's just like what they told you at the beginning of the game. Don't worry about the points. The points are meaningless. She picks up the Kudettes, slams it to the ground, revealing nothing more than an empty tin box. Indika then looks in the mirror one more time and sees the devil no more. It's just her, in tattered clothes, covered in dirt, and traumatized even further than she already was, with even more PTSD than she's already gotten at this point. If you play the game, you know exactly why she has it. She looks towards the rest of the pawn shop as her rosary beads explode and tumble onto the ground. And then the game cuts to black. That's it. Credits roll, dude. That's fucking it. What the actual fuck, dude? What the fuck? What did we learn? What was the lesson? I don't fucking know, dude. I don't even know what to I don't even know, like, I still don't know what to say about that. And this is the second time I've seen it. This is just, dude, I just needed to get that off my chest somewhere. Oh my gosh, bro. Like, what the fuck? Whoo, man. The Russian game developers, dude, just allergic to happiness. It's just absurd, dude. It's fucking absurd, bro. This shit fucking ruined me. This shit ruined me for like a good 2-3 days. I cannot lie, especially because her whole life has just been fucked up. Even during the good parts, it just ended with something fucking traumatic. And even before any of this happened, it started to be on the up and up a little bit when she was helping out Ilya. And it's just for it to end like this. Just like quadruple betrayals. Niggas is dead and shit. Niggas is assaulted and shit. Niggas is traumatized and shit. It's just, man, fuck, dude, fuck. And I think what makes the fucking ending so gut-wrenching is just how like realistic it is, dude. This was definitely somebody's fucking life, bro. There's no way it wasn't. It's just, the tragedy is not so far removed from reality. Again, and it just leaves you thinking like, what even was this? What is the lesson? Shit just gets worse. I've never felt so bad for a character since like Lee got shot in the head by Clementine. Like, this is that level for me, dude. This shit is, because it just cuts. There's nothing after that. It's just like, yep, that's Indika. What did you think? 5 stars? Please give us 5 stars. I wish I could offer a deeper analysis than that, but I don't got it. I don't got it, bro. I just had to talk about it. Like, it just had to get it off my chest. This shit fucking sucks, dude. Oh my gosh. So yeah, that's Indika, man. What'd you think? Put it in the comments down below. Thank you so much for watching. If you haven't, go play Indika. Even if you listen to me talk about the ending, it only hurts even more when you actually play the game. You should still play it. Thank you to the subscribers and the coffee people and the YouTube members. Like, comment, subscribe, tell your friends. I hope you guys enjoyed this new recording, and I hope it sounded just as good, if not better, than the last couple of videos, because I'm trying to record in a different way. which will hopefully make it easier for me to record videos. So this is the first one that I'm recording like that. Of course, that also caused this video to get delayed because I had to learn a new software, but we're here now. So hopefully it was up to par. What's next on the docket after this, dude? Fucking Silent Hill F? Oh my gosh. Parasite Eve? I still need to finish that book. Holy, dude. Holy. I gotta throw in some more positive shit in between this, because I don't think doing a stretch of videos like that is gonna be positive for my psyche. Because I heard that Silent Hill F, I heard that goes into some dark fucking places too. And Parasite Eve, from what I've already read, I already know that shit's gonna be fucked up. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Play Indica though. It's good. Goodbye.